Hello my witchy friends, welcome to the channel, or welcome back if you're a returning subscriber. My name is Sophie, I'm the Midwest Magician, and today I wanted to talk to you about 5 different herbs to start building your apothecary. Now these herbs that I chose in general are mostly for medicinal purposes, so I should have said for your medicinal apothecary. However, they all do have magical properties. I'm just not going to get into that today. I personally really enjoy using herbs for their medicinal purposes. But if you are interested in their magical properties, this book, Encyclopedia of Magical Herbs by Scott Cunningham, is a great place to get started. There are honestly a ton of different references on magical herbs, but I wanted to start talking about medicinal herbs and the ones that I would recommend for any beginner. Now, I wanted to get references out of the way right out the gate here. I did Google a lot of this information, and a lot of it is just practical knowledge and my own personal experience with herbs. Another great place to get started on any kind of herbalism is going to be Rosemary Gladstar. She has so many amazing books talking all about herbs and how to use them, how to make salves, how to make tinctures, and their different properties. So I highly recommend, what's this one? Rosemary Gladstar's Medicinal Herbs, A Beginner's Guide. This is incredible. And then this one, Herbs for Common Ailments, How to Make and Use Herbal Remedies for Home Health Care. Rosemary Gladstar is an awesome reference. And then I also found this book a few years back. It's called The Illustrated Encyclopedia of Healing Remedies. It looks like that. And it is by C. Norman Shaley, MD, and she's a PhD. So this has a ton of awesome information in it as well. A lot of the information too that I am using for this video, I found just by Googling. Like I said, Healthline is one of the main ones that I used as well. So I also have my cute little froggy notebook with some notes. One more disclaimer to put out there, I am not a doctor. If you plan on starting with any medicinal herbs, please speak to your healthcare provider. If you are nursing or pregnant, please hold off on using any medicinal herbs until you are out of that chapter of your life. But with that said, do your research and do not take anything that I say as medical advice. I am just letting you know about medicinal herbs that I like to use and how I would start building my apothecary if I were to start over from scratch right now. And with all that being said, let's jump into it. Okay, the first herb is probably tied for my favorite on this list, and that is going to be stinging nettle. So when it is fresh, it will sting you if you try to pick it up and try to harvest it. So be careful with that. I personally just purchase it in its dried out form, and I get mine from Star West Botanicals. This is not sponsored content. I'm just letting you know where I purchase my herbs from. I really trust Star West Botanicals. But nettle is amazing. It has anti-inflammatory properties, and it's amazing for seasonal allergies, not for any other kind of allergies. So if you have an EpiPen, this is not going to help you. But if you have seasonal allergies, hay fever, nettle is going to always be the thing that I reach to. Honestly, I usually just add nettle to any kind of tea blend that I'm making anyways, just because it does have those anti-inflammatory properties. With that said, with the anti-inflammatory properties, a lot of people do tend to gravitate to nettle for their arthritis symptoms. I've also heard that it can be used to stabilize your blood sugar as well as lower blood pressure. However, I do not have personal experience with either of those 3. I typically tend to just use it for its anti-inflammatory properties for my menstrual cycle as well as for seasonal allergies. Okay, if you're a tea drinker, this next one is probably already in your supply, and that is going to be chamomile. This one I grew in my garden last summer, and as you can see, it is almost time for the new growing season. I'm almost out of my chamomile from last year. I really love using chamomile for easing my anxiety, and it is a very, very, very low-grade sedative, so you can use it to calm down your body, calm down your nervous system, and help you get to sleep. And that's what it's mostly used for, is anxiety and sleeping. However, I have read that it helps with digestion and it has antioxidant properties. So chamomile is definitely getting added to the apothecary. Okay, this next one is new to me and I'm a little bit salty that I did not start taking it or learning about it sooner, and that is going to be Yarrow. This is definitely tied for #1 favorite on this list with Nettle, and Yarrow is actually technically a weed. I got this from Star West Botanicals, and typically you see Yarrow like growing on the side of the highway, just driving across the state. So it's absolutely bonkers to me that like something that has cured so many of my issues in such a short time is literally just growing next to the road. Absolutely insane. However, I will say do not harvest any Yarrow that you see growing on the side of the highway. There's a lot of free radicals and yucky stuff in the air and in the dirt over there, so try to get organic if you can. However, all that to be said, I started taking Yarrow as a tea during my period to reduce bleeding, and that has helped significantly. And with that, I've also noticed it help my anxiety a ton. It's also said to help a lot with wound healing. I was reading in Rosemary Gladstar's book that she had a person working on her lawn. They cut their hand, she grabbed some Yarrow and mushed it up into a pumice, put it on their cut, and it stopped bleeding like spooky fast. And she's not the first person that I've read that from either. So I've seen that all over the place, that it helps a lot reduce bleeding as a pumice. I've also read that you can turn it into a salve and it can help reduce bruising if you get a bruise. Another thing that it does help with is going to be inflammation and digestion as well, although I have not had issues with those two things, so I can't personally attest to that. All that to be said though, Yarrow is getting added to our 5 herbs in the Apothecary. The next one that I'm adding to the list is also a new one for me. And again, it is a weed. I feel like they're tricking us, y'all, by saying these things are like invasive weeds, but really we should be harvesting them for medicine. I don't know. Don't call me a conspiracy theorist, or do if you want. I don't really care. Regardless of conspiracy theories, the next herb that we're adding to our 5 is going to be mullein. And I got this from Anthony's Organics. I have used them before for other things such as like nutritional yeast. I did look on Star West Botanicals, and when I went to purchase, they were completely out of mullein and it had a wait list and that was it. So I did go with Anthony's this time around. That being said, mullein is going to be a go-to for any upper respiratory ailments that you might have. I've personally heard that it can be amazing for easing bronchitis symptoms. I've heard that it can be great for clearing nasty gunk out of the lungs. And I've also heard that it can help treat sore throats. So really any kind of ear, nose, throat, and upper respiratory ailments, mullein is going to be what I personally would reach for. All right, y'all, we've made it to the end, and for this last one, I have it in 2 separate forms, and that is going to be dandelion. So first I have the flower, and I harvested the flowers in my own front yard. I don't use any pesticides, and I do only use the ones that are close to the house and not by the street, because I don't want the stuff from the cars, and I also am a little bit freaked out about people walking their dogs and me somehow picking the dandelions that have dog pee. So only the ones that are close to the house. And I shred up the flowers, put them on a baking tray, and let them dry out in the sun completely. And the flower is gonna be really amazing for its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory purposes. And I've also heard it's very good for heart health. And then I have the dandelion root, which again, Star West Botanicals is where I got the root. And it just looks like a bunch of bark in there. And the dandelion root is gonna be really good for liver health, cleaning out your liver and making sure everything is functioning properly with that. But that said, dandelion is going to be the last one. Regardless of the form, they're gonna have really amazing properties that you can take advantage of. All right, my friends, well, that is all I have for you. Those are the top 5 herbs that I would personally use if I was starting to build my apothecary right now from scratch. I hope that you found some inspiration in this video. And as always, I really appreciate you being here, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.